Ready? All right, we're ready.
Okay, I'll go ahead and open the meeting of Blaine Fire Authority at 1 o'clock with Mark Boren, Kurt Wilson, present, myself, and Brian Walker online, and Greg Deaton absent.
Okay, and then I'll open the Santa Clara Fire District Board meeting with Rod, Don, and myself on Zoom.
Okay, so absolutely.
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any public comment?
No, we have no one signed up for.
Okay,
comment.
Mike Smoot, board action for continued agenda. Mark meeting minutes.
March meeting minutes were good.
Okay, financial report.
Probably biggest thing, financial, everybody got the profit and loss in your board packet. Overall, we're looking good. We're actually under, obviously, in personnel services. We're still under budget for personnel, likewise across the budget. We're actually looking really good this year. Obviously, with personnel services, we've had positions we haven't filled, so we haven't been paying those wages. So we're carrying a little bit more money with us. So we look to be under budget pretty well in personnel services at the end of this fiscal year. Santa Clara, once again, looking really good. They have exceeded they're at 104.9% of tax resources. So tax collection has been really good. And I think this profit and loss that went out to you folks through the fence for Lane Fire Authority, we're at like 99.9 or 8 or something like that. We're actually over now. We exceeded our anticipated tax revenue. So we should get another dump of taxes probably May, June here. We usually do that round, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of around probably 100,000. Get our final tax dump before the end of the fiscal. So all in all, looking good. Finance committee, we have been meeting very routinely, working those multiple budget options. In the event we don't pass a levy, we're going to have a budget option for budget committee. In the event we do pass it, we will also have that budget option. So a little more work. Well, I shouldn't say a little more. I would say a lot more work this year. Having to be prepared for that because the election is May 19th and our budget committee is the 21st. So we've only got a day split in between. So we really have to be prepared for both scenarios coming in. So finance committee has been working hard on that. And then obviously we'll have to craft. Rose is going to help me. We'll have to craft 2 different budget messages given the scenario, which will be it's going to be a little bit of work, but we will have it done and complete. And then I will be advertising for budget committee meeting here pretty quick. We'll advertise probably in the Register Guard as we do normally. And then we'll also be flying that advertisement on the website for budget committee meeting, which is here May 21st. And just a reminder for board members, that's a Thursday night. May 21st, Thursday evening, 6 p.m. We'll all be upstairs for board and budget committee meeting. We'll try to keep the board business workload light, just because the big consumption of time that evening is given budget committee, and depending on where we go with the discussion and what budget we are looking at. So just trying to be prepared. So we will make the necessary budget available. Election is Tuesday the 19th. We'll make it available the 20th. and I will get it shipped out to board, budget committee. We'll have it available at the front counter as we're supposed to, so members of the public, and that will be in the budget committee meeting notice of when the budget will be available. And that will be Wednesday, the 20th, and then, of course, the following evening will be having. So. A lot of discussions, a lot of work. Just hoping over time it just gets lighter and easier, but. Other stuff financial. We're coming up, we lost the station 115 site of the phone system this last week. It is dead and gone, basically, right, Bill?
I mean, they got backup working over there, but we can't do anything with this over here, so.
Yeah, they're not,
Patched together.
yeah, they're not talking anymore, our phone systems. So our phone system is old, it's antiquated. They can't even get parts for it, and we lost some type of motherboard, control board.
Flash card one.
Yeah, a flash card went out of it, and you can't get them anymore, and so, we have got to try to figure out how to upgrade our phone system, and that's not gonna be a, $1,000 project, it's gonna be a thousands and thousands of dollar project. We don't know quite yet what, but it's gonna be significant. The other piece too, and I've talked about it a little bit before, is working on these budgets and trying to figure out how we're gonna manage to upgrade our server system. So our server was new in 19, we did that right after I took over Spire Chief. And our IT company is pushing us to upgrade our server because it is becoming obsolete. Whether we can accomplish that this coming year, we don't know yet. We're still digging through numbers. But that project alone is about $100,000 project, upgrade our server system. Network switches, ports, firewalls, all that, so pretty significant stuff, so.
The 2019 system, was that like on a 5-year low or lease or?
Yeah, we did that at 4 year. We did it over 4 years through government capital. Because I think we did the main server. Couple network switches, and then I think we kept our existing firewalls, I believe, back then. Then we replaced quite a few workstations. But now there's no workstations in it, and it was $100,000 project then with a bunch of desktops and laptops. And now it's $100,000 project with no workstations, just the server, firewalls, and network switches. The price of stuff has just went. Yeah, like everything else, it just keeps getting more expensive, so. And you can think of something, I think that's probably about it on the financial side.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
made and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Carry. Correspondence,
I don't believe we had any correspondence this time.
no, no, recommendation or promotion,
We did we promoted to, Charlotte. Right after the last board meeting. I think I talked about it last board meeting, but that promotion took place, and other than that, we haven't had any other promotions.
A retirement coming up. right?
Got a retirement coming, yeah, I got that, Chiefs were with.
okay? IAFF,
Oh. Yeah, sounds like we're just, I'm not prepared, so,
You're fun.
yeah, going on a lot of calls, working hard, we're down another person, Haley, last shift, last week. So wish her the best, and of course, we've got Matt, Snauer retiring here. I think his last shift is tomorrow and the next day, so, hopefully you can get out to his little party on the 2nd. Wish him all the best and be jealous of him now, so. But yeah.
okay? Staff report, fire chief, our volunteer association, we haven't
No, nothing from volunteer association. I need to make a statement out there.
Fire chief,
Chief's report. So, you appointed civil service commission members and we had the first meeting of the civil service commission here last night. Which was Tim Heiss, John Baxter. Unfortunately, Bill Clendenin was unable to make it. He happened to be on an airplane during meeting time, flying back east. So he will catch up with us. We'll ensure we get it orchestrated to get Bill at the next meeting. So, I think the meeting went well. For the first meeting, I think it's everybody just kind of getting familiar with the civil service rules. Figuring out what that role is as a civil service commission member. Rose put together some really nice notebooks, for them to start off, like civil service rules. Our current labor agreement, so our contract. SOGs, all the job descriptions, promotional SOGs, all those kinds of things, just for them to kind of breeze through, catch up, get familiar. Meeting was about 40 minutes and, they did adopt those rules. And then, John Baxter will be on a 2-year term, Bill will be a 3-year term, and Tim Heiss will be a 4-year term as a civil service commission member. And Tim will be the chairperson and John Baxter will be the secretary. So I think overall, well, obviously we haven't had a civil service commission in years, so it's, finding the routine, getting familiar with it, but all in all, look forward to working with those folks and, I think it's all gonna be fantastic. So we've kind of forewarned them. Civil Service Commission is supposed to meet at least quarterly, but we'll probably get them back together latter part of May. Post-election and budget and find out where we're going. Because one way or the other, we're gonna need to talk about people, positions, all those things, whether it's hiring, promotional, layoff, whatever that is. And so, we're gonna get them back together pretty quick, probably about part of May. We will convene them again and have another civil service commission meeting. So all in all, I think it went well. Those, me. You were here.
I was here. No, I just add that the civil service rules outline that they are supposed to meet, quarterly. April happened to be one of them. That worked out really well. April and then
Every quarter.
July, quarterly after that. And they are public meetings, so we for those meetings, will get a set schedule for the quarterly ones. And we'll get those posted on our website so that they're accessible, people know when they are. And as Pete Portland said, we'll call some special meetings just because we will need to. And we'll post the dates of those ones, but they'll at least be projected out for the next year on when the quarterly meetings are, and we have a spot on our website to post those notices.
Cool, thank you. Levy updates. If anybody listened to it, I did KPNW radio show Monday before last. I haven't listened to it because I don't like listening to myself or seeing myself on camera. But overall, I think it went well. Last Monday evening, thank you to City of Anita. City of Anita passed a resolution in support of our levy 20-378. So very much appreciated. It's nice to see. I mentioned at the meeting, we're a district, they're a city. We're two separate units of government, but it's nice to see the collaboration and the lockstep and support. And obviously, City of Anita is not afraid or not ashamed to step up and support us and support the citizens here. Emergency services is obviously a critical service to the community and they're fully supportive of that. So we really appreciate it.
Of course, I'd be afraid not to vote for you with 27 people there that you brought.
It was a full room, they had a yellow, the pack had a yellow shirt night, yeah.
It was good to have you there.
Yeah. So we appreciate it. Appreciate you putting up with us. So
It was good.
yeah. We did a follow-up interview this morning with Lillian from Lookout Local. That's kind of been an ongoing. Lillian had submitted a records request asking about the levy and wanted to see budgets and those kinds of things. So we did a kind of a final follow-up in-person interview here this morning with Lillian. So she could finish her article. Myself, Chief Douglas and Diana. And I think all in all that went well. So hopefully that article would be out
Week or-
end of the week or sometime first of next week. So that article will be coming out. I know she's been working on it for, she's been working on it for quite some time, so we'll see. Looking forward to seeing it. We have a few things coming up. We have an open house here at 101 this Saturday, 11 to 2, correct? Here at Station 101, that is happening. We have, Q&A sessions coming up, kind of like we did before leading in November. We've got an evening session and we have a weekend session. So we've got a Q&A coming up April 30th here at 6:30 p.m. That evening. And then we have another one May 2nd, which is a Saturday again, right? Or Sunday? Saturday. And that one will be 10 to 2. That's May 2nd. And then May 1st, IEFF 851 has put together a town hall over at Lavelle Vineyards. And that is happening May 1st at Lavelle Vineyards up off Scheffler Road at 6 p.m. And the tickets are free to come. I will be there. Commissioner Seneca from Lane County will be there. Just an opportunity to invite community members in, some food, some drink, talk about levies. I imagine the commissioner will want to talk about the county, you name it. So we're having that town hall orchestrated by 851 coming up here May 1st. As we mentioned before, Matt Sinauer is retiring. We will have a retirement party for Matt May 2nd and 2 p.m. That's Saturday, May 2nd. 2 p.m. at Station 115 over at Irving. Once again, summer's coming, prepping up fire season. I've been in communications with Oregon Department of Forestry. We'll be providing tender standby for them again on the weekends. I think pretty sure we have 3 individuals that are probably going to be doing that, so that'll be good. Bolstered up a little bit from last season. So as soon as I get the last availability from one of our members, I'll be putting that schedule together and we'll get that set in place. So whenever fire season kicks off, we'll be providing their tender operator for their tender on the weekends. I think this will be our 12th year, I think, of doing that, 12th or 13th year of doing that with ODM. So it's worked out really well. Oh, that is those individuals with Lane Fire that provide that standby coverage on weekends. That is funded, it is paid for by Oregon Department of Forestry. We pay them an hourly rate. They pay that rate plus roll up. So like a retired individual that was on PERS, we have to pay by statute, we have to pay their PERS rate. So there's a little roll up cost with that. But that is all covered and paid for. We are reimbursed for all of our out-of-pocket expense to pay those members for that standby time. It's 4 hours Saturday, 4 hours Sunday. And then, of course, if they get dispatched out, they're already paid for the first 4 hours. If they end up, working a whole shift, then they get paid that same rate by the hour beyond that 4 hours. So, but that is all reimbursed by Oregon Department of Forestry when we do that. We're not out of pocket for anything on it. We have a Task Force Leader Symposium coming up. That is next week. Myself and a number of others from Lane Fire will be going down there. It's at 7 Feathers, starts Tuesday afternoon, ends Wednesday afternoon, so it'll be one night down there. And I have been invited by the State Fire Marshal's office to sit on a panel with 3 or 4 or 5 other individuals to talk about conflagration deployments, task force leader perspectives, those type of things. The symposium has been going on annually now for 8 years, 10 years. The State Fire Marshal's office, the first one was actually Valley River Inn years ago, and it's going to be like this one-time thing. It's for task force leaders and assistants who are working toward being a task force leader. And it's basically annual updates on the MOB plan, any form changes, routine changes, anything like that. Talk updates on the upcoming fire season. It's been a really good venue, and it's not long, it's pretty short, but it's been a really good venue. just to kind of get everybody acclimated coming into fire season. So, and I appreciate being asked to speak on the panel. I did it years ago. One point, one of the symposiums over in Redmond to Eagle Crest, so was gracious to be invited again. With fire season, pack testing coming up, our own internal pack testing, that'll be May 3rd and 5th, an evening and a weekend day. And that is to get us prepped up for all of our folks that want to participate in calibration response. We do an annual pack test. We'll be doing that down at the ODF track. Something I'm gonna be sending you to, maybe not next board meeting since it's budget committee. We've had conversations with LCOG about becoming a LCOG member. We subscribe to LCOG right now. We pay, I think I brought the paper in. We pay 800 and change. We currently pay $828 a year for our subscription to Arlid, which we have utilized many times. We can look up properties, assessments, taxation, all that through the LCOG system. And in some conversations, I actually started with Brian talking with LCOG about some mapping and things like that. And then this came about and they said, well, you know, we offer an elevated membership for districts. And so we currently pay $828 just for Arlid, bumping our dues to $1,020, so less than $200 a year more. We would get access to contracts or LCOG vendor contracts without having to go for an RFP, everything from software to consultants. We get Arlid as part of that we're already paying for to 12 hours of LCOG staff time a year. And then there's also mapping involved in that. We probably get some free mapping out of that, obviously to a certain extent. So, and then they also have offer some legal services. So we would have access to that as well. It sounds like a good deal. I will be sending all that information out to you folks. What that membership is a basically one of our board members would need to become an LCOG board member. LCOG board meets 4 times a year. And when I send out the information, you'll kind of see the layout of what that means to be an LCOG board member. And they request that one of our board members be assigned to that with an alternate to attend those meetings and be a part of the LCOG board. But I won't get into it, but I'll send you a bunch of information on that for a future meeting. It also requires this board to pass a resolution to get that process started. So anyway, more to come on that one. And then I think, as Bill said, we've been busy as always. I think this month we're at about 18.6 calls a day is what we're running. So it's busy, but I have no doubt it's going to pick up from that. And we're kind of in that time of year where we kind of slow down a little bit, but the weather's getting nicer and summer's coming, so things are going to heat back up again for us. And then just kind of an update with our relationship with Lane County Tech Services and our VHF radio system. All of the Fire West equipment for our dispatch frequency. I've probably talked about that before. We were running on equipment on top of Blanton and Walker for dispatch service that was old GTRs. They were like 35 years old. Literally, they had to resurrect a Windows 95 laptop to program them. That's how old it was. All that equipment has been upgraded now. We're on new, I think we're on Tate equipment now on those hilltops on our dispatching. And it is now monitored. So Lane County Tech CLCC, they can literally bring that up on their board and see that it is up, it is running, it is functioning. They will get alarms if something, if the repeater, suddenly dies for some reason, they're going to get an alarm on the panel and let them know it's not functioning. So our dispatch services are broadcast off both of those hilltops simultaneously. It's called simulcast. And so in the event Walker or Blanton go down, we still have a hilltop that we can broadcast off. Obviously that affects coverage if one of those goes down. far more if Blanton goes down. That's our main coverage repeater for dispatching across the valley. Walker is definitely helps out in this area and to the west, but not so much as you get into town. But it doesn't disappear either. So that equipment has been upgraded, and I believe they just upgraded and finished the Fire East project as well. So I know we pay that extra amount of money. I think we're $27,000 a year for radio service through Lane County Tech, but we are definitely gaining ground, and we are in much better shape as far as our radio system is concerned than we were a number of years ago and far back into the past.
So they paid for that upgrade and we're just paying basically an annual service fee effectively
we are paying for it.
through that $27.
All providers, all the rural districts, that fee is broke out. Basically, we have a budget of about 300,000 a year. That is sent to Lane County Tech, and then that is billed out individually to each agency on that VHF radio system, and it is done by call volume.
I see.
So we're the third highest payer, first being Eugene, then Springfield, and then us, South Lane, and it just goes down from there. It's based kind of like our dispatch fee with CLCC. It's based on call volume. So, and then we had, when we made this transition a couple of years ago, when the VHF system was basically moved from Central Lane Dispatch over to Lane County Tech, and then all the hilltop stuff, the infrastructure, all that. We had rural districts and the cities had a pot of money down there for capital outlay, future upgrades, build outs, those kinds of things. And it was, I want to say it was like $1.2 million that sat in a city account, which was kind of one of the things that brought us finally to a point of wanting to do something different and move. Because every time we wanted to upgrade something, we had to deal with it was a city function to have to do that, going through budget and approval and all that, RFPs, contracts. And so when we moved all that equipment, basically the ownership and administration of it from the city to the county, that pot of money also came along as well. And the city actually transferred that money from the county or from the city of Eugene to the county. And our budget administration lives with the person at the sheriff's office, which is the same person that also handles the LRIG budget, the Lane Regional Interoperability Group, which have the UHF or trumpet system budget. So but it was a good move for us. And now we have part of our money we pays for an individual at Lane County Tech that works under Mike Harmon. And she manages our VHF radio system. She's like Pitbull with a dirty sock. So she's doing a really good job of overseeing our carry funds, our radio system, and getting out on those hilltops, getting them evaluated, seeing what needs to be replaced, planning those projects. And this was kind of one of the bigger ones because our equipment for dispatching was so antiquated. But now we're up on new stuff. So yeah, it's nice to be able with that money to say, we're paying this and this is where it's going and what it's doing.
Right.
Yeah, it's nice. So. And I will turn it over that's about it for me. I'll turn it over to Chief Douglas.
Okay, a few things, most of them surrounding ambulance stuff. So we kind of pushed this just because there's more to talk about. I think our ambulance revenue, this is partially financial, or it's financial, but we're sitting at around, I'm not sure if this is the same, meeting the other day, but when we met finance committee a couple days ago, we were sitting at 66.6% of our budgeted revenue. And we are about 81% for our budget year. So,
We're still
doing
down.
some math, we're down about 15%. So we're still down that percentage. We are averaging about $172,500 a month in ambulance revenue. And so we're predicting at this point, we're really closing in on that. That prediction and that gap is we're gonna be just over $2 million by the end of the budget year. That is 500,000 less than we budgeted for. We don't anticipate making that up, by the end of the budget year, so we'll be about.
Told you. Fingers crossed.
We'll be about 500, such an optimist. We'll be about $500,000 short. We do think we might be about 100,000 over in tax anticipation, so that'll
Probably.
help.
Probably a little bit.
That'll kind of help that gap a little bit. Some things that we've been doing, just so much related to this name change, you would not believe how much is related. We're still up until 2 weeks, last week or 2 weeks ago, we were still trying to get our paperwork done with Regents Blue Cross Blue Shield. We did a name change with them. That wasn't sufficient. They wanted us to be a new entity. We filled out a new application. They didn't like that application. It's the wrong application. They sent us a different one. Phone calls, lots of time spent on the phone, fill this one out. We did that, submitted it, and they said, oh, now we get it. You're not a physician, you're an entity. Well, yeah, no, that was the wrong application we had you do. So here's a new application.
Just
And
the emails later.
we want some documents, and meanwhile, there was over 100,000 in claims sitting there that we were waiting on billing. They can't accept, we didn't exist. They couldn't accept them from us. As of last week, everything seemed to be approved, and our billing company was sending in about 12 batch test ones before they spent the time trying to send all the pending claims. They're like, let's test these 12, make sure they go through. And we're waiting on the results of that to see if that in fact was processed. So
They estimated there was probably around 150,000+ in gross billing sitting there in those claims. So
not what we received, but what we fill out. Of course, we can't really put an average to that because I believe that is commercial insurance, and so we can't really put our 700,000 or 700,000. Boy, do I wish we can't put our $700 average per claim onto that because it's commercial side. So it may be better than that. Our $700 per claim is averaged out between all claims, including commercial pay, Medicare, Medicaid, and Medicare, Medicaid reimbursement, and much lower. We also have a little bit in GEMT still. We're waiting for, they're projecting May 15th for us to get some fee for service. I've not been able to locate exactly what they think that amount's gonna be, but I don't think it's gonna be a tremendous amount that we're looking at getting.
40 or 60.
Yeah, so
Somewhere.
we're, no, I haven't pulled up and read the number, but we are probably gonna be under in our projected GEMT revenue as well. We were sitting at,
We're about, south, 218, 220.
and we had predicted
310.
300, and so we're looking, 250 to 280 maybe. So we're gonna be under in that a little bit. That one's, it's just very hard to predict. And,
We just received.
that is for 2024.
We
is
just
what we've
received-
gotten.
Yeah, we just received the CCO monies, which was 261,000, somewhere in there,
I think 260.
260. We just received the CCO money last month, and that was for last half 2024. So OHA is behind and they're trying to get caught up. We have seen emails from OHA that said that they are trying to get at least first half 2025, if not also second half 2025 out this fiscal year. I doubt that is going to happen. But we will see. If we could get the first half of 2025 in CCO, which would probably be representative of what we just got. If we could get that this fiscal, I'd be really super happy, but
And even once the state gives that final release of, oh, yep, the money's coming in, it trickled in over 4 weeks, maybe
At least.
at least 4 weeks. So even if they get that going, we don't see it coming in before the end of the fiscal year. We suspect next fiscal year. But it is, if it does happen and suddenly we are at that 300,000 prediction or over, just realize that's probably because some of that. 5 today. We're still working on that countywide ambulance task force. We met our last meeting. And they wanted to go over, so they've been collecting data, having us put in data, correct data, different things like that. We sent them. Finally figured out kind of what was wanted, so we were all on the same page. We sent that in. And I haven't seen the correction, but they had a presentation and our data was. It wasn't our raw data, it was interpretation of our data, like. It said that we got 60% of our funding from GEMT. I'm like, no, we get 200,000 from GEMT. That cannot be right. And so we didn't want to, we're in the middle of the meeting, you know, there's other people on it. But they were trying to compare us all to each other and show, well, Lane Fire's 60% comes from GEMT and 4% comes from Medicare. I'm like, that is not right. I can do the math, but that can't be right. So that was difficult because none of our numbers were right, that from what we sent them, and I did some quick math and I was like, I don't know where you're getting this, like 7% of our funding is, so. They were gonna correct that so that we could actually kind of see and compare. They had vastly underestimated how much of our funding is Medicare, Medicaid, overestimated GEMT, potentially overestimated taxes, yeah, it was kind of. And then they're trying to compare things that are very difficult. They want special districts to say, well, how much taxes, and we put in our total taxes, $6 million. But the city only puts in, because they have an enterprise fund, so the city only listed what their portion to their ambulance enterprise fund was, not what the fire department gets in taxes. So they're not comparing apples to apples. It's not even comparing apples to oranges at that point. It's completely different. So we're trying to kind of square that away to figure out what exactly are they looking for and what are they want.
I mean, I think that also just goes to the fact that it's hard to understand what it costs to provide ambulance service
Yes,
for everybody.
very difficult.
Hard enough to get my name right.
Yes,
This thing, I thought she kept saying Chief Borland. I couldn't hear her well enough. And it's like, I don't know if he's on or not, but
I was on.
yeah. She tried to say that twice to me and I'm like, and then I figured out what she was saying and I was like, well, you said something too.
yeah, I could hear her, she was saying Chief Boren. I was like, well, so. Yeah. So moving forward, the next step is they're splitting into some subgroups, one to focus on legislative issues and one to focus, they didn't call it operations, I'm gonna call it operations because I can't remember what they called it. But
System and strategy.
yeah, system strategy, so more coming up with plans, you know, what does a countywide ambulance system look like? What does this option look like? What if we, you know, all subcontracted with somebody? What if we, so they sent an email saying which group do you fit in? Which group are you interested in? And I suspect most of the chief officers will probably be in that systems group, actually developing possibilities for different system proposals. And then different models, and then the other folks in there that predominantly deal with legislative stuff will be on the legislative group, so. No known timeframe on where those groups are gonna meet. I've not heard that, but
The deadline now for when it's supposed to
Yeah.
choose, but.
was there anything, Mark, what did you feel like there was anything from that group?
Supposed to, Friday we're supposed to choose one of the two, says. I don't
From that meeting, I don't
know.
think there was anything else that really.
I think there's a good conversation, you know, during it. I think that. People around the people that are being educated a little bit about stuff, so. Yeah, it's just interesting.
Differences between cities and districts and.
And big cities and little cities.
Yeah, when you can't even quite get data all streamlined, you know that it's gonna be a difficult conversation, because then there's things way outside of that. But one good example is there's lots of conversations surrounding non-transports. So when we go into non-transport, there is no reimbursement for that outside of few select situations. So that's a big point of conversation, and the way they asked for data, it had all calls and number of transports, so that's what we ran. here's our total number of calls, 7,400. Here's our number of transports, 3,800. I'm roughly, I don't remember what they were exactly. And so they kept focusing on, well, 50% of the calls, there's a no transport. And I'm like, hold on, that's not what you asked us. We run calls where we are not the transporting agency. We run calls where Eugene Springfield is the transporting agency at times. So what you're seeing is our transports and total calls, not the total number of patients that resulted in transport, because that for us is higher than 50%. We're closer to 75% of all calls get transported. But we have a whole section of our fire district that is a Eugene ambulance service area. So those are always being transported by Eugene. That's gonna be reflected in their numbers. And so just trying to get them to understand that, like, not trying to focus too much on certain things that maybe aren't gonna be as beneficial. They've talked about things if they could get Medicaid, because that's state level. It's very hard to affect Medicare. It's easier to affect Medicaid that's at state. But could we get Medicaid to cover non-transports? Like, so 25% of our calls are non-transports. How many of those people are Medicaid, which is much lower than Medicare? What were 4% Medicaid patients? So 4% of those, and then how much are they gonna reimburse? If they only reimburse less than $300 for a transport, how much do you think they're gonna reimburse for a non-transport? So what are we talking about? $20,000 a year, so that's a lot of time to spend on legislature to try to get the state of Oregon to cover these for Medicaid, and that might be very helpful to a lot of people, but at our own level, that's not the impact that we need to see in ambulance funding. So there's a lot of time spending stuff, and you gotta run down that path. You have to be able to show it for sure, but a lot of time being spent in things that may not come out to be a big solution to an ambulance funding crisis.
But you gotta look at all the options.
Yeah, gotta look at
Sometimes
it
you
and
just
show
gotta
it.
put in the homework to get to the end of the tunnel and go, yeah, that's probably not viable.
You know if other counties are doing this, if anyone else was looking?
Yes,
Uh,
who did they just say? There is. And I apologize.
Leonard Benton, that wasn't it? That was them close, but maybe
maybe
not.
there's also over east, actually state is involved in kind of the same discussion, talking about ambulance, stability, ambulance funding. I wanna say it's Grant County, Grant,
Sounds right.
Umatilla, I guess. 4 or 5 counties.
That they had some task force going.
Yeah. Similar test.
It seems like when you're talking about legislative involvement, getting the special or the fire district directors association, legislative committee and the special districts legislative committee involved as part of that, I think. Makes some sense.
And I think that's all I have, except for just one, maybe should have gone under communication. We didn't get any for correspondence. We didn't get any correspondence. But can't share too much detail. We did have a gentleman come to the station. Oh, Bill's gone. Yesterday, I believe it was.
Oh, yeah.
And he had been in a bad accident at some point that we responded to. And it was one of those we just really weren't sure if he was gonna make it through that accident. He is up, well, walking around. I'm very grateful, and it's just really nice to see those things because we don't get to see them that often. He came by to say hi to the responders, and there was 2 of the folks that were on that call were there and got to chat with them and everything. And so it's nice to see those times that our presence made a difference.
Yeah, he's went through extensive surgeries and recovery. Got T-boned by a long truck.
Significant accident, so it's really nice to see. Our fire district responded and our ambulance transported, so that's why we're out doing what we're doing. That's all.
Cool. Great. Thank you.
Yep.
Diana, did you have anything else to add? I didn't want to try to steal your thunder, but I just kind of wanted to encapsulate the stuff coming up, so.
Lots of events coming up, and then going into May, which is typically Wildfire Prevention Month as well. We'll be gearing up to do at least a couple of Vinegar Farmers Markets events also on weekends, May and June. With the rest of the summer to be.
Okay. Business on budget committee members status.
Yeah, so in your packet, you had actually one, and then I sent the board another application. I received it Sunday, so last minute ad. We've got 2 applications for LFA Budget Committee. Currently, we have confirmation that, Eric Ansbro, who has done Budget Committee for a couple of years, Eric is going to return. Michael Dorman, who owns, Lily Pad Towing here in town. Michael Dorman has committed to return as an Elevate Budget Committee member. And then you folks have 2 applications, one being, Randy Wood, retired assistant chief, lives here in Benita. And then also Mike Brotherton, who lives out off of Highway 36 out in the Franklin area. And so, that would put us at 4 for Lane Fire Authority for Budget Committee. Currently Santa Clara, we have confirmation Frank Tavencraw is returning. Frank's retired board member from Santa Clara, and then Pat Surotech, who is, director, Surotech's wife. Also confirmed returning. There were 2 other Santa Clara Budget Committee members in the past, Cody Fuller and Tigran Kalapanya. I have reached out to both of them. Thank you to Santa Clara board members for getting me contact numbers. I have been unable to reach Tigran at this point. I think it's actually a bad cell number. It just keeps going to a Verizon recording. And then Cody Fuller, I left him a voicemail last week. I will try him again this week. Because I have not gotten a return phone call. So at this point, we have 2 returning Budget Committee members for Santa Clara. 2 returning for LFA, and then 2 new applications for LFA's Budget Committee. So, I would leave it to the board. Obviously, we've got a month, we're coming into Budget Committee. I would leave it to the board. If the board is happy with those applicants, I would say a motion from both boards to reaffirm and elect those, appoint those Budget Committee members.
I'd make a motion that we reaffirm Michael and Eric for the Lane Fire Authority Board and appoint Randy Wood and Mike Brotherton.
I'll second that.
Oh, wait.
Right.
Everybody, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Gotta see if Brian and I think he's wrote in there.
Come on first.
You froze for a
You say aye? I think he said aye.
Okay. Carried.
All right, and then same for Santa Clara. Motion from Santa Clara Board to reaffirm or appoint Frank Tavencraw and Pat Surotech to the Budget Committee for 26-27 budget proceedings.
Do I hear anybody making that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. We have a motion to confirm Frank and Pat as Budget Committee members. Let's see, let's vote on it, I guess, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Do we have a second on it, Russ?
Oh, okay. We have a second.
Who was it?
I'll second it.
Okay, Don moved and Russ seconded.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes.
So we will continue advertising. I know discussion with Chief Wood, spent many years in Santa Clara. Chief Wood is still kind of beating the bushes, so to speak, over in the Santa Clara area over there to see if we can drum up some additional potential candidates. And so we will continue working on that between now and the May meeting, and can always have the board appoint additional members if they come along at that May meeting prior to Budget Committee. So, okay.
Anything else before we go into?
No, that's the last item of business I think we had, so, other than the executive session for the fire chief's evaluation.
Do we need to come back to string the closure of the meeting, or should we let folks online know?
I would imagine probably after the executive, because the board has to come back into public to. Any findings out of executive, and then adjourn the meeting. That has to be done in public session, so. I guess course of how we go, we will pause streaming. We don't want to stream an executive session. We're gonna pause that. You said you can pause it. Should be able to pause that. We're gonna stop the recording of the Zoom meeting. And then once an executive, we'll restart that so we can record. The executive session for record. And then pause or stop the recording and then restart when the board comes back into public. But I would foresee there's probably gonna come out of the executive and probably very short, probably adjourn, so. That is, well, the board members feel different. But it's fine.
We'll go ahead and pause the Blaine Fire Authority board and go into executive session.
Thank you, Patty.
OR 192-660, Brand 2, Brand I.
Yep. Well done.
And I'll pause the Santa Clara Fire Board to go
And
in.
then,
Go ahead.
both boards stay in attendance. Does the board with the